Aloha everybody, I'm Kahiau Souza, apprentice luthier here at Kanileʻa ʻUkulele, and today we're going to be going over this beautiful instrument, which is Vine V2, and we're actually going to go a bit behind the scenes as to how the inlay was actually drawn on the computer, and we'll be going over all that today on the breakdown. So before we get into the minute details of this beautiful instrument, I want to reference back to our Rosette video where we mentioned how because a circular sound hole, we can actually create a circular pocket using a router that follows that circular path to route out the channel for inlay material to go into. Now, an inlay like this still has the material inlaid in a very similar way. It just, because we're implementing a laser machine to actually route out the channel, it allows us a whole new abstract form of creating something like Vine V2 or a D-shaped sound hole where the D is in a perfect circle, or even something like the Galaxy inlay from a previous video we did. And all of this basically allows for us to create custom inlay work and do all kinds of crazy inlays all over the instrument. So now we can look into the big picture and minute details of this instrument. So we do have a Tenor true relief body showing off some absolutely stunning master grade koa, actually from Joe's stash, which is a little cubby hidden in the back corner of the room. And if Dad, you were wondering why one set was missing, it was Kaimana, I promise. And some other things about this instrument is it is a traditional thin headstock with a 17-inch scale length. It does have double front and back binding, a side sound port, along with a maple bevel cutaway, and even custom sand inlaid bridge pins. And can't forget the beautiful inlay work traveling all the way from the body up to the headstock. So we wanted to create an experience behind this inlay, so we did a screen recording of me going through the design process. So I'll walk you through how we took triangles and circles and turned it into this beautiful inlay. Alright, so here we are on Corel Draw, which is the program we use for all of our graphic designs, and it's really nice because we can upload it to our laser, which is where we'll be creating most of the renderings. So this is Vine V2, which means we already did a Vine V1, and that inlay was a vine going up the fretboard. So this one is gonna be a little bit more insane. So what we're gonna do is start with a triangle here, and the idea behind the whole concept is to go starting from the sound hole. The vine is gonna travel around it and then connect onto the fingerboard and all the way up to the headstock. So here with the triangle, I'm just starting with a basic shape so I can use the nodes, which are the things I'm grabbing right now. And those are gonna give me just starting points of where I can kind of start a rough drawing to get positions of where the vine is gonna travel. And that's just gonna allow me to kind of rough it out, get it going, just kind of get concept onto paper. Just want to throw out a preface here. I'm not a professional on Corel, so this might not be the most efficient way of doing things, but it works. So what I'm doing is I'm just keeping in mind that I want to put the leaves of the vine in positions where they would be position markers. So I just have to make mental notes here of left and right of the vine's travel so that I can place leaves in the areas that are going to be important. So what I'm doing right now is starting to take those nodes and turn them into curves, which is going to be important because, as you can see, it's a lot of straight lines. Turning it into curves is going to allow me to create that flowy vine effect. And I'll just have to play with these arrows, which are going to give me nice adjustments to keep everything symmetrical and parallel as it moves up and down. So with the 15th and the 12th kind of being the area I'm working on right now, I'm just keeping in mind that the 15th I'm going to have the leaves going to the left And then for the 12th, because the 12th position marker usually has 2 5mm dots, I just want to have leaves coming out both sides, so I'm just going to have the vine traveling up more to the center. That way I can have 2 leaves on each side. So here's just going to be a lot of refining on keeping things looking parallel, nice, and getting the dimensions correctly. So we'll just go ahead and speed things up a bit for you. So here I'm just adding a full filled in line. That way I can get a better idea of what I'm working with, and just continue to refine, but with a better visual. Okay, so we just switched over pages here. So I continued to refine it for about half an hour or so, and just kind of getting a smoother line. As you can see, the line is thinned down quite a lot, and just knowing that with the vine and the leaves, you don't want it to be too like overpowering and distracting from certain things. So making it thin will keep it nice and subtle. Artistic thing that I learned through school was less is more. So just making sure that nothing is too overdone. So what I'm doing is actually creating new nodes on the line. And what that's going to allow me to do is create those stems that come off of the vine that are going to lead to the leaves. So here I'm at the 15th fret, and I'm just going to kind of create just different looks, kind of get that flowy look, and just play around with it. So I'll just keep refining it and tweaking it, and just kind of go till I feel comfortable about the feel and kind of how it flows. So here we are starting the 12th fret. So I'll just plan on coming out to the left, and then create something here, and then I'll go do something on the right side. So just kind of continued up, refined the placements of where I was already at, and then continued up the fretboard, creating spots at 10, 7, 5, 3, and then little ones above that as well. So we're just gonna start now with the leaves. So here we have a circle, and that's gonna be our geometric shape that we're gonna basically turn into a leaf shape. And we'll go up the fretboard with this, just kind of creating as much like a leaf as we can make. So I'm not too worried about the size of it right now. I can always scale it down, but just getting the general shape first. It looks really nice. You can always rotate it, create it smaller, skew it, whatever kind of helps fit the shape. So I'm just gonna mirror it around and then find the position that looks the best. The leaf naturally wants to fall down due to gravity, so I'm gonna flip it around. That's looking pretty good. It's starting to look like something, huh? Maybe the leaf is a little big. So now I'm just gonna use that rather than starting from a circle again, since we're pretty close already. We're just gonna create another leaf. And there it is. So just go ahead and move up the fretboard, create some more leaves, 12, 10, 7, 5, and 3, and then all the way up to the top. And that's what it's looking like. Really like the look. I'm still gonna have to refine some things here and there. But now it's basically gonna be moving on to the rosette, and then how that ties in with the fingerboard all the way to the headstock. So here we have my first draft of the sound hole. I was trying to go in for like a natural vine look where it's not exactly following the circular form of the sound hole, and it just wasn't really going for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and create one that's following the symmetry of the sound hole. So here we have it pretty much completed, to the sense that redoing everything we just did, but in a circular format. Kind of this one, there's no position marker, so I'm just gonna go freely off of what feels good and looks good. And during the idea, I was kind of like, oh, what if we had the leaves come to the inside towards the sound hole? And during that time, I was like, it'd also be cool to have the sound hole cut out also follow the contour of those leaves that come inside. So that's definitely one of the coolest parts that I'm liking about this whole design. So that's pretty much the final rendering. I went ahead and tweaked it a little bit more, kind of cleaned up some areas of the vine where it just wasn't very smooth. Just some little nuances of kind of doing digital artwork with the nodes and stuff. So clean that up, made it smoother, more polished. And that was the inlay design. And as you can see, we have a nice kind of colored out visual of what it's kind of going to look like, with brown wood and white is going to be the sand, and then green is the green poplar. So just kind of a nice visual representation of what it's going to look like, and I like it. That about wraps it up. Thank you everybody for joining me today on the breakdown. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm curious to hear what kind of inlay you would put on your custom Kanileʻa. We will get a more official sound demo when the mic is set up for that particular kind of recording. But in the meantime, I'll play a song for you as we say aloha.